proof of how the quality of parliament has degraded. Karen Nyamu is the vice chairperson. Val is already shaking her head. Vice chairperson of the Standing Committee on National Security, Defense and Foreign Affairs. Wonder why Ruto didn't have a clue on what's going on.
Val, I'll let you.
So they were giving the people the evidence to actually see that you're just for yourself, but not for us. And then now when the people turn against them, and the people demand for them to work, and the people are actually trying to hold them accountable, and they're telling them, I'm going to take you back. They were like so arrogant, and they were like, hakuna kitu mtafanya, right? Then MP actually said, mimi nataki kurudi, I've already made enough money. The Thika MP, while she was brandishing millions on the table. And it's people... one that doesn't have the most number of MPs in the parliament, if we just go by the election results. Remember, they became, immediately they won. We saw some MPs say, we are going to work with the government, we're going to work with the government, we're going to work with the government. They never did defect, they were bought. So they, in quotes, are supposed to be part of the Azimio side, but they just shifted alliance, especially a lot of Jubilee and these small parties, MPs. So that is one thing that, and I see, which gives out a lot of anger to this generation, is because you were elected to represent us, but it's like your allegiance is not into representing us, it's more about what the president wants. It's like you guys serve the president instead of serving us. And then those statements they were making that, I know you guys elected me and you don't want the finance bill, but I have to go to buy what my boss wants. That is actually things that cause anger in that country, because you are our boss. And then these MPs and then, social media is a funny thing, because it's nice for you to keep with trendy things. So you will find yourself doing challenges that are famous. And then the stupid thing is that these politicians have been doing those challenges, right? Politicians wanataka kugodha na kugodha tena, juu kugodha ndio iko famous. Anagodha kifloss, watu wanaangalia, kumbe unagodha mali yetu. Right? Mimi nagodha jini, unagodha umeshika Prince Louis ya 500,000 Kenya shillings. Mimi nimeshika drink ya 3,000. Unajifanya like you're hip. So they were giving the people the evidence to actually see that you're just for yourself, but not for us. And then now when the people turn against them, and the people demand for them to work, and the people are actually trying to hold them accountable, and they're telling them, I'm going to take you back. They were like so arrogant, and they were like, hakuna kitu mtafanya, right? Then people actually said, mimi nataki kurudi, I've already made enough money. The Thika MP, while she was brandishing millions on the table. And people said 27 utaona, akasema nani aliwaambia 27 atakurudi.
Wow.
So
arrogance.
So so this arrogance, this clearly showed to the people like, these guys are not there for themselves, for the president, and that's what the younger generation and the younger generations came out. And for me, I cannot see how 2 years you've ruled for 2 years, you want to more than double the budget, and you've never done even one single development project, because even the housing levy is going to buy bonds, treasury bonds. It's not used to building houses. Uhuru paid for the houses. Remember, affordable housing was an Uhuru project. He just came in and took with it and ran with it. Guy has never commissioned even one project. None of the MCs has ever commissioned any project. The only thing we see is every weekend we see Sudi and a few Kenyan MPs going to donate 200 million. Your salary doesn't even reach 2 million a month. Where are you getting 200 million for you to donate in Harambee? So there are so many things that were happening and are happening in that country that it's got to a point where it's enough is enough. Your second budget, you want to double it, and there's no trace of development, not even one. JS teachers have not been hired. The doctors, intern doctors have not been hired. There's no money for them, but there's money to go and give Gachagwa's wife and Ruto. There's money for gifts. There's money for unexplained expenses. You just know you have to use this money, but you not explain who you. There's money to give to Harambes, right? Linda Mama has been taken out. Linda Mama, which is actually helping a lot of women in that country to give birth safely and affordably. Like, there's so many things that have been scaled from the budgets. The schools are burning. The roads that were spoiled during the floods have not been fixed. But no, it was time for this to happen, and I'm glad that it did happen from the younger generation who had no reason to affiliate themselves to anybody. They didn't have to worry about their jobs. They didn't have to worry about anything. It was just about, I'm worrying about my future.
Okay, sawa. Asante sana Mika. Well, I mean, gems dropping in today. Let me go to the comments here. Udi is in the building. Udi karibu sana. Sambaza Podcast says that video that Robert is talking about is epic and will stand the test of time. It's like that guy who stood against a tank pale Tiananmen Square in China. Yes, and then Sambaza Father says sad circumstances though, but it really... but I really commend these people. And then Stephen JJ says, Mheshimiwa comes from the word Heshima. Why do we even still refer to them as Waheshimiwa? And then Udi says, I disagree that Parliament was ever held honorable. People were just scared. The quality of Parliament has actually really gone down, like over the years. And then Washeke is saying, Kelvin is articulating it so well. Which I totally agree. And then we have up Lucinita Masinde. Glad you made a platform from Watuamaju. Lucinita, we are here every Friday. Make sure you like, follow, and check out all our pages. We're here like the sun. And then Sambaza Father says, Mika is right. Those were Pale Kule IYKYK shifted allegiance and IBC didn't do its work by calling for by-elections till today, but didn't do anything till today. One area where I'm going to call out the members of parliament, and it's because the reason why I'm doing this is because sometimes sisi wa Islamu, we tend to keep quiet for each other, but I'll call out the Somali MPs. Not all of them, but there was quite a good number of them who voted for this bill, and I'm calling you out today. They belonged to, most of them belonged to a party called WDM that ran under Azimio. Now, this party was one of the first ones, right after the election results were announced, to be bought by William Ruto. One of the people who is in that party is a person I've admired for a very long time. I was even seeing him as a future president, but I'm now giving him a red card. His name is Farama Alim, member of parliament, Dadaab. You get a red card for this. I mean, this was a faux pas on your side. Farama Alim has always been a maverick. He was first elected in parliament in 1992. He was part of the Gen Zs that took part in the revolution that was happening in 1990, when things were more dangerous, when things were more crazy. Farama Alim, I don't know what you were thinking. I'm sorry about this, but I have to give you a red card on this, unless you come and explain yourself. He came back on Spice FM and doubled down on his yes vote. And these are
he did?
Yes, he did, on Spice FM.
When?
Yes, during the week. You missed that episode.
But the one that Sambaza was the one he was voting yes. He voted yes.
Yeah, the one he voted yes. That was before Ruto called all his MPs back and told them to reverse. So that was after the first vote.
But his explanation made no sense.
It made no sense.
None
totally.
whatsoever.
It made no sense totally. So Farama Alim, please come back and explain to us. A lot of us as young Muslims were looking up to you. In how you are fighting for us, you are fighting for the rights of Muslims, and in the sense that you came from a minority community. So I don't know what got into your mind. Please, Farama Alim, come out and explain, because this is a momentous occasion. If you're not careful, you will be remembered for the rest of history with this one vote that you made, unless you come out, explain yourself, and apologize, because the president has already reversed course.
And
So please.
remember, Siti Muga asked him when, pointed out when he was the only guy who was wearing the Arafat.
Yes, he's always been a
He's
maverick,
like he's a maverick.
for Palestine.
But then all of a sudden,
Yeah.
here he's just madhogodhanioring, like,
yeah,
because I was trying to understand.
So I don't know. And you know what? People are allowed to make mistakes. Just come out and say, sorry, I made a mistake. I mean, you've been seeing other MPs wearing T-shirts, like saying, so I made a mistake. So just come out clearly.
Even the wife saying he's sorry.
Yeah, even the wife
The
saying
Nakuru West, the Nakuru East MP.
Nakuru East MP.
Yeah.
So Farama Alim, tafadhali, because you're someone that we were looking up to so much, come and just explain to us what exactly is this. Because right now, the accountability is going to be case by case, line by line, bill by bill, motion by motion. The days of hiding under, like the style of voting that many people say aye and nay, those are gone. We are now following up everything. This is a new standard that has been created that, I think, all these MPs are now fearful that these things are being analyzed on ChatGPT and everything, line by line, and they're being translated into different languages, because there are so many other laws that are coming in. There's a conflict of interest bill. There's the issue about IEBC. IEBC has not been constituted yet. So these are the things why people will still be out in the streets. I know there's some people who are saying, oh, the president, has come down, so you guys need to chill out. No, there are so many things on the plate that need to be addressed before people relax. So a couple of other comments that were coming in here while we were still speaking. Stephen Jeja anasema hiyo ushindi ya KK, we know what happened, eti take care of your vote, hiyo ni kura ya raia, the people's vote has to be protected, otherwise tutaiba. Washeke says that was Thika Town MP. I think that was the MP that people were referring to earlier. And then Washeke father says she said she has stolen enough to last a lifetime. Okay, Gen Z will come for you and take back what you stole. And Washeke father says no capitation to school, but there is 1 billion for furniture. And then Stephen JJ says Deputy Speaker at one point Farama Alim. And then the number to call again is 202-683-4570. Press *5 to speak. Lucinita Masinde says if you could shed light on the next step now that the president didn't sign, what's next? We're going to talk about that shortly. If the 21 days lapse, we're going to talk about, Val is going to be talking about that shortly. And then I can see here on YouTube, I can see Hanigal Njeri says love, passion, Ali, and well.
Love the passion.
Oh, love the passion. Love the passion, Ali. Oh, okay.
Brother, should we get you glasses? Okay, so says love the passion, Ali, and well done for holding someone you admired accountable.
Yes, this is the time for accountability. Even those people we like, I had to do a very difficult thing during the protests in DC. One of the things that I was doing, I was emceeing, I was on the mic, hyping up the crowd. One of the things I was doing is we were issuing red cards, and unfortunately I had to issue red cards to members of parliament, that some of them that I know, some of them who lived here in the DMV. We had to issue them with red cards because this is the time for accountability. Charles Gimose, Hamisi member of parliament, Vihiga County, he lived out here in the DMV. Okay. He still has his kids out here in the US, some in the DMV, some in New York. And I apologize to the kids because they're very nice people. But please go tell your dad, this is the moment for accountability. Hakuna, this thing of, oh, I can hide and do this because I was sponsored by this party or that party, that is gone. If you feel like you cannot handle the heat, you better get out of the kitchen.
100%.
You better get out of the kitchen, and that's just where we are. I can see here Gloria McCarthy is also tuned in on YouTube. If you can read that Gloria comment on mic, I can't see.
As diaspora, this is the time to start registering.
Now,
non-voters for 2027.
Now, that's interesting. That's interesting because as diaspora, the problem is if you want to register, you cannot register. You have to go to Kenya to register. I don't know whether outside this registration period a diasporan can actually.
But then where are you gonna register early? There's no ABC.
So I know, like when we were registering here, people were being allowed. I think the people who are being allowed to change in Kenya were the people who are already registered to vote. So I think right now there's a big problem with IBC and everything. So coming back,
before you proceed, there's a
Una
comment that I'm going to read, but I think this is going to blow your head might explode.
Okay.
But bear with me. Calm down.
Figuratively.
Yeah, but please calm down.
Okay.
Usifure ka usi jam. Kam kisi. No offense. Stephen Okot says, Ali, proof of how the quality of parliament has degraded. Karen Nyamu is the vice chairperson. Val is already shaking her head. Vice chairperson of the Standing Committee on National Security, Defense and Foreign Affairs. Wonder why Ruto didn't have a clue on what's going on.
Val, I'll let you take it from here. Let me not even say anything.
Kwanza Karen Nyamu kuna mafala douche parliament.
Okay.
This woman, tell us why when this whole thing of sanitary pads came out, what did she say? She said she doesn't use sanitary, tumia tampons. What level of ignorance is that? Set to you jifanya.
I'm not a guy, but
I mean they know, but for the women watching, like that's some level of ignorance, like you can't even fathom. And then also I'm ashamed of Mlima Kenya, where I'm from. Because back in the day, you could hear names like Mishuki, Matiba, Sait Kona, Machungwa, Nyororo.
Kimani Machungwa and Dindi
Nyororo.
There you go.
Kimani Kuria.
And then Moha Jicho.
Mbovu.
There you go.
There we go.
Those are the people.
Unasema Kiarie.
Yeah, Kiarie, okay.
Naje Kiarie.
Kamodho.
no, JJ.
Kamodho 2.0.
JJ 2.0.
So the guy acted Kamodho and he became Kamodho.
Yes.
Imagine.
And he became Kamodho. Yani alafu na ule albino kwa ndampeleka TZ.
Mwaora.
Hey, Mika kuwa mpole.
Wewe mlisema mtamwachia jua.
Kuwa mpole.
Tumpeleke tu TZ. Unajua TZ wanapenda albino sana. Acha tumpeleke kwa mwato.
Kwa Kiswahili wanaitwa zeru. Na sijui kama hiyo term inatumika siku hizi because nawasikia Tanzania pia. Lakini unajua, no offense at all to people who have that who suffer from albinism, but Isaac Mwaura, you also get a red card. That arrogance, that arrogance, the hubris, you also get a red card. I mean, these people have to be held accountable because for a long time they didn't care because they knew that people had given up and no one will follow up, and after like 5 years people will forget and go back to the polls and vote some of them back. Some of them knew they're not being voted back in, so they just steal as much as they need and they keep moving. So yes, so this is the moment for accountability. Val,
actually this is also the moment of the judiciary and the president to show us what they can do. For example, why do we have someone like Waigoro who has never been tried from the NYS scandal? Why do we have someone like Babu Owino who tuliona na macho yetu shooting someone, nothing happened to him?
Na Mandago aliba 1 billion.
Na Mandago na
and he's a senator now.
He's a senator Mali.
Na ule mwenye alikuwa, there's a lady during the protest who said the MP from her place was a convict.
Sirisia MP.
That was Waluke. Yeah, one of the MPs that we gave a red card.
Okay, that's where we start. We start by cleaning these people up. They have to be tried. They have to show us that no one is above the law. The institutions have to game up right now. In your opportunity outside.
Yeah.
But then, let me ask you something.
Yes,
the courts did say that Mheshimiwa MP Engineer David Sudi is an engineer credibly, but the whole world saw during his swearing in, he couldn't even swear in both Kiswahili and Kizungu.
Yeah, so
like he couldn't speak in anything. But then I'm an engineer, and Kevin is an engineer there. Just tell me, Kevin, would you have done any assignments in? Let's look for let's look for the easiest subject that even just math. Not math. Would you have done any math assignment if you didn't know English? Or didn't understand English? As an engineer, just
I mean,
would you be able to do any of your assignments if you didn't understand? You could not communicate in English.
definitely that is a big impossibility.
Now,
Okay.
Hapo ndio wanasema
So-
ngamia itaingia kwa ile tundu la sindano kabla before you tackle a math question.
Yeah.
wow, Mika.
Hmm?
Yeah, so
The thing is, I'm just surprised that when we say we're trying to hold accountable these people, we can hold all of them accountable, but then we have somebody who has a case at the ICC leading the country. Hapo ndo tunafaa kujiangalia, tujiulize, huyu msa alichoma watu,
yeah,
alipeana bullets, alikuwa na kesi, witnesses walipotea, kesi haikuisha. If witnesses are ever found, kina Dikembe December wakiwa itokea, then kesi itarudi. There is a person we voted for, na tukasema ni wa Mungu, tulisifu kwanza tukasema Mungu ndo ametupatia huyu. Sometimes I feel like that's why every time I speak you hear me saying it is us, the older generation, by our inactions and actions that put these kids here. We are the ones who are responsible for those kids who are dead right now in that country.
absolutely.
Ndio wangekuwa ujinga yetu, watoto wangekuwa hapa sahi. Me as somebody who's a parent of a Gen Z, I actually, and this is the thing, like we had this conversation, she spoke passionately about this. And for me, I feel guilty all the time. Like I feel guilty because I'm like, this is all us. This is my generation. These kids, yes, they do their stuff in social media, but guess what? They learned how to make money out of that social media because you didn't give them any other options on making money. And they're getting old and they need to start worrying about themselves. So those who can get jobs learned how to get money out of that through content creation. Then you realize that and you want to take away that source of income from them. They're going to get mad about that. So that social media that you laugh, that content creation that you laugh at them and you say they waste time over there, that is their world. That is what helps them a lot. So what did they use it? They used it to get together, to teach each other, because there were discussions, before they went to the street, there was a lot of discussions on Twitter. They used to open spaces, they used to communicate over there, the translations in different languages. They were like, they broke it down to how they understand it, how it affects them. So they went out with a purpose. And for them to do all that organization without meeting, without seeing each other, right, without being close or holding closed doors meeting and planning. No, it was out in the open. The government saw this starting from how it started up to where it is right now. So they did that. We were the first people to have social media. What did we do? Tulitukanana tu na kusenganyana na kupost nudes.
Mika, cheza chini. Now, hapa Estamulusa, karibu sana. Estamulusa from North Carolina anasema Gimose does nothing for Vihiga County. He employed his wife and relatives, disregarding nepotism clauses in the Constitution. So this is the age of getting checked instantly, and this is what I think now leaders, current and future leaders, need to be aware of. Udimadenge says there's a problem if we don't have an ambassador in DC. I don't know if the new ambassador has come in. I don't think so, but that's also an ambassador who we might just decide to give him a red card, because during the hearings there were so many questions that he could not answer, and it's very dangerous to have an ambassador in the US who doesn't have any diplomatic experience. An ambassador who has no diplomatic experience, take them to some small country first. These political appointees, America is a very sensitive space. We've already had the bad experience of an ambassador who did not have diplomatic experience. That was Ambassador Robinson Githae. So we don't want that scenario again. Now, Val, I'm going to come to you. Let me just read the comments here. I have Udimadenge was saying, of course, there's a problem. Stephen JJ anasema sunlight arrogance to in a boy. I think this was in reference to Maura. And then Washeke Nirangu says Millicent Omanga dancing while showing off vehicles acquired with our tax money. Dismas killed someone during the elections.
Didmas.
And his office. Kwanza that name. If you have a name like that, you should not even be talking.
Jamaa lakini wanakwambia mimi kitu napenda ni alijaribu kwenda matanga the next day after voting. Yes.
Yeah, and of
Ile
course
teke alitolewa.
alisalimiwa na Gen Zs. And then Jidraf Nganga is asking Udi Madenge, any planned protests Kenyan Embassy Washington DC next few days? You know, I'm gonna give this to Val, and you had a comment before I'm gonna come back to read more comments that were coming in. So answer this question for Jidraf, and then there was something that you also wanted to say.
I was just gonna say I'm not related to Robinson Gethai.
I
just want to make that clear. We are not related. I don't know him. Simjui.
Okay, confirmed for Gen Zs because Gen Zs squeezy one.
Aseme tena. Hatukumsikia.
Simjui. I'm not related to Robinson Gethai.
Robinson Gethai.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
You know nowadays Gen Zs they ID people and they ID their families. Yeah. Like those cops that were shooting people. They have been ID'd and their families. And that's a kind of accountability that we are going to be dealing with. And then Washeke anasema alisomea engineering Russia. I think that's referring to Sudi. And then Udi Madenge anasema these clowns made us stop us from voting diaspora. I don't know exactly what that means. Refresh that. Yo kizungu imenichanganya hapo kidogo Udi. And then so Gidrafia was being told that there is actually a protest in the Kenyan embassy on Sunday 1 p.m. in Washington DC, so make sure you come there if you're in town. Then Washeke says Kumera Tadhiraku is responsible for the rot in our country. Someone translate Kumera Tadhiraku, whatever that means.
Dhuraku.
Ants. Ants.
Kumera.
Yeah.
Kaende. Nayo.
Okay.
Tokelezea. Kumera brother.
Yeah. Siafu. Okay. Watu wanajua kwa Kiswahili. And then Udi anasema I wish I still lived in the DMV but I'm in ATL but I have protested online a lot. I think there was one that was being organized at CNN Center in ATL.
Saturday.
Yeah, on Saturday. We're going to confirm that information, and Udi, we're going to give it to you. Make sure you go out there.
Me notice.
And then Gidraf says, now, Washeke, how do I get more info to the contact? I have folks in PA interested in attending. Just remind Gidraf, like about the protest on Sunday, what time, and what they need to bring.
Yes, it's 1 p.m. to 7 p.m. at the Kenyan Embassy. You can wear any Kenyan colors. Kamka umekula, kamka umekunywa maji, or just stay hydrated. And what else? Bring a rose or a candle, because we're actually planning on doing a vigil for the heroes that we have lost. And come with energy. And I repeat, your anger. Ukilala hiyo siku, Ruto must go. Ukiamka, Ruto must go. Bring that energy with you.
Ruto must go energy. Na kama Odikia nauliza, what is the Sunday demonstration for? Sijui kama Odikia amekuwa wapi, ba mweleze tu kidogo.
So, it's Sunday demonstration. Last week, we were protesting the finance bill. But the game has changed, okay? After the president decided to call everyone treasonous, criminals, extrajudicial killings and abductions, and him telling the deploying the KDF, which is unconstitutional because he had to go through the parliament first. So also, just the massive police brutality, the Githurai massacre. Wajua ametuambia numbers ni sijui ngapi na Rongai, but I'm hearing the numbers are almost 200. Kuna mse alikuwa anasema wase walikuwa na dedi aliona kama mwili 30 zikiekwa kwa lori. And I'm thinking maybe that woman was like, who was crying saying she can't find the body of her child. So there's been a lot of cover-up. So again, this protest is going to include all those things, and also just, letting our brothers and sisters know we are there. Tuko hapa, tuko pamoja.
Okay, sawa. And then hapa Steven JJ anasema nataka kusalimia hawa majenzi. Like unajua kusalimia, define kusalimia gani, because kusalimia nowadays has multiple meanings. So Steven JJ anasema nataka kusalimia hawa majenzi kwa studio. Jamani, fungueni laini. We say a good hi to the studio guests. The number is pinned actually on the Facebook comments. The number to call is 202-683-4570. Press *5 to speak. We want to hear from people coming out. I'm going to come to you, Robert, shortly. I just wanted to check to see kama watu wa YouTube hapa, watu wa Facebook waliamkamka kidogo, because watu wa YouTube leo walitoka teke. And then I can see yes, I think Stephen Okot says, wonder why Ruto didn't have a clue on what's going on. Remember Deputy President Gachagua alikuja akamblame NIS
Nuruddin Haji.
Yeah, akasema kama angekuwa amesema mapema hiki kitu ingekuwa imejulikana, which shows you how dysfunctional this government is, which shows you that people create formations, the politicians create formations to win elections, but there are no formations to govern, which is a very dangerous trend that we are experiencing. And then Stephen Okoth father says, Ali, you're absolutely right. Hawa watu wamekuwa wajeuri, and that's their downfall. This isn't the first government to steal, lakini you don't rub your spoils in the face of the victims and tax them more. So yes, so that's just what has been happening, and unfortunately. So Roba, let me come to you here. You know, there's been so much activity today. Everybody wants to comment. Everybody, you know, sijui kama kuna mtu kwa phone line. Again, the number is 202-683-4570. Press *5 to speak. Iko mtu kwa phone line. Before we go to Roba, let's go on the phone line to hear what people have to say. All right. Thank you for calling the One Mic Show. Please tell us your name and where you're calling from.
0951.
Okay. Who is Stephen JJ calling from Dallas, Texas?
Mute on the other side.
I am mute on the other side. Karibu sana Stephen JJ. Ulikuwa unasema unataka kusalimia. Yes, ulikuwa unataka kusalimia Gen Z. Haya, tuma salamu kwa Gen Z. What do you have to say for them? Ni wengine wanajiita zillennials.
Nimewasalimia sana. Na kwanza maze, big up man. This one is a big one. You know, usually man, I get like kind of a little too excited, so you know, I mean, finally I'm through to OneMicShow in mara yangu ya pili kupiga. So but I mean, this one is personal to me, it touches home. I've been part of maandamanos, and yeah, we've never really got even close to this, maze. So niwa say maze, asanteni sana, and the message is clear. Peaceful demonstrations. We need to just keep on fighting for everybody, kwa sababu hatupigani tu mtu mmoja, tunapigania sisi sote. Hiyo ndio ujumla na upendano. So mazee, mimi tunataka kuwasalimia kwa kuwasalimia nasema tu mazee, pia mazee, msichoke.
Okay.
Endeleeni tu na tuko pamoja. That's all I wanted to say. Na mazee, big up mazee. OneMicShow, one love.
Thank you so much. Unaenda protest za Dallas, because kuna protests I think.
Hiyo niko ndani kesho.
Uko ndani, sema uko ndani kama SIM card.
Niko ndani kama SIM card.
Chonjo ndo wadi ya Stephen JJ.
Niko ndani kama SIM card, niko maandamano kesho.
Okay. Haya, sawa. Na usirushe
bana. Usibebe dimanga lakini.
I know. Unajua
dimanga tumezipare. Unajua sisi kwa tulikuwa naona sasa tunaendanga mazee uko ready kurusha, lakini mazee sasa hakuna.
Usibebe dimanga jo. Beba tu maji, chupa ya maji. Maji mob. Kwanza kwa kwenu unasikia itakuwa karibu 130 degrees.
Mazee jua imewaka hapa mazee, kesho itabidi mazee nimeenda kwanza na kreti ya maji, kula, ice, so itabidi mazee tukue.
Beba pia ka umbrella na kale kaloni cha udungilie kwa kona mahali ukichoka unaenda unapiga maji kidogo na dakika 15 hivi, alafu unarudi kupiga huko Ruto must go. Wao demonstrate ukipiga break. Hata mimi nilikuwa nafanya hivyo, nilikuwa napiga kelele, alafu nakimbia kwa kona hapo, naingia kwa dinga na chapwa na AC, alafu narudi tena.
Okay.
Mazee sola imewaka, mazee imekuja na ubaya.
Okay.
Lakini mpaka tu represent mazee hii cause yetu bana. So lazima tukue pamoja mazee. Lazima.
Haya, safi sana Stephen JJ. Again, the number to call is 2.
Mazee Gen Z mazee, tuko pamoja na tuko strong.
Okay. Haya, sawa sawa. Asante sana Steven.
Usisahau sunscreen.
Umeambiwa usisahau sunscreen. Umeambiwa usisahau sunscreen Steven JJ.
But we are melanated. We don't need that.
Na hata zinatoka huko na heat rush ingine iwezi. So yeah, itabidi.
Aya, sawa sawa. Asante sana Steven JJ. Again, the number to call is 202-683-4570. Press *5 to speak. I'm gonna come to Roba, but a quick comment here from Drukimani. Drukimani says the events surrounding Y2K should have been a clear warning not to vote for Ruto. The patterns we are witnessing now are straight out of Moi's playbook. We must organize and mobilize youth leaders to run for representative seats in every constituencies to ensure we remove these ineffective leaders in 2027. And I totally agree with Drukimani. Udi says, to clarify, what I meant was they blocked us from us in diaspora from voting, or they blocked us from US in diaspora from vote. Okay, hiyo kizungu tena imenipita. Washeke says tomorrow it's 99.
Kuvupi anasema they blocked us from voting.
Or they blocked us from voting. Yes, that's true. Now Washeke anasema tomorrow it's 99 degrees in most parts of Texas, so make sure you are hydrated. Roba, I'm gonna come to you. Maybe your reaction to just what was being said, and then diaspora. At what point does diaspora help, and where do we hurt on these issues that are happening home? Roba.
Okay, thank you. So one thing actually I can answer Drew's question there. So, and also Mika talked about it earlier. So I think one of the reasons that this guy has a very bad history with Y2K, with Youth for KANU, alifanya vitu mingi hapo, allegedly, I don't know, he was doing the dirty work for Moi. In 2007, we all know he had a hand in the violence that happened there. Also in the one in 2017, they're just, it's a bad, even akikuwa Minister of Agriculture, hiyo maize scandal ilikuwa, this guy had a bad resume, and the only reason aliingia government, I mean, ama hata nini State House ni juu, I think a lot of us didn't participate, and now that we are awake, I'm happy. Like I don't think Kenya is going to be the same again, because I think 8 million Kenyans didn't vote, 7 were unregistered, a lot of youth, majority were youth. So what that happened, what was the result for that is party politics, like Kevo was saying, kingpins just saying huyo ndo anaingia, and that was it. And then tribalism also, there's tribe politics. Hao anasema tu huyo ndo anaingia. If Ruto anasema Sudi anaingia even though hata hajui kusoma in English or Kiswahili, and he's allegedly an engineer, na hata juzi akisema pole, ama sio alikuwa anasema nini about his club, anaongea kwa Kikale. Mimi ni Mkale pia, but hata nilikuwa na float hapo kitu anasema. Mimi sikuwa naelewa nyanya anasema ai umse bana aizi ongea in English hata ku release a statement, just to release a statement to the public, you're still speaking in your native tongue, which it shouldn't be acceptable for a member of the government. So anyway, one of the reasons that happened is similar to what happened in the US in 2016. People didn't come out enough to vote, and as a result in the US, Trump went into the office, and as a result back home, Ruto went to office, and I think the difference in the votes between him and Raila was like 10,000, or was it 100,000?
It was about 100,000.
200,000. Yeah. So a few votes.
233 to be precise.
233. Yeah. So it would have made a difference going out to vote, and I think we all awake. We all awake now. And the worst thing they could have done is educate the young people, which they did. Yo free education ya Kibaki ilitufunza civil education, and now we are awake. Now we know like what we must do, and the other thing is the internet exists na sisi, and we have seen the other countries. Tumeona kina South Korea na Singapore wakijijenga, tunaona vile watu wanaishi Netherlands na Denmark na US. We know we deserve better. Tuwezi kubali the bare minimum anymore. So that's the biggest mistake they ever did, is educate us, because now we are awake. We understood we made a mistake in 2022. A lot of us went to vote. I didn't vote myself. I will make sure I vote, even if it's going to Kenya in 2027, and we have to change our country for the better. But remind me the question you
so
had.
The question was diaspora, like at what point do we help, and where do we hurt when we are, like agitating on social media and even demonstrating on the streets on issues happening back home?
Yeah. So the bare minimum, like I said, was just posting on your social media network, talking with your family, whether there are young kids born here or not, just educating them. Just educate them on the issue. Let them know what's happening in their country. They are all Kenyan. Their bloodline is Kenyan. If they were born here, they just need to know what's happening back home. Bringing awareness is the bare minimum that every Kenyan should do. Other than that is just the protest, and I think the Congress men and women who attended the reading of the bill from here also.
Yes,
that
and we're
will
going to be
call-
talking about that. Yes.
that I guess we'll talk about later. But that's another thing. We can put pressure on them here because the US is getting very involved in Kenya's policies and in Kenya in general. And that's another story, the basis that they're planning to build in Kenya, and the carbon tax credits that are being sold, that are hundreds of acres of land back home that are being sold under our feet. Though that's another topic to allude to. But yeah, the bare minimum you can do is bring awareness with your friends and family. If you don't have a social media, if you do post about any issues going back home, bring awareness. There's a lot of us here. There's thousands of us in the US. We can't just be all silent and minding our business, because Kenya is our country and it's definitely our business.
Okay.